Welcome to the 2021 graduate commencement at Buffalo State College. This afternoon, we will be conferring nearly 700 master's degrees, certificates of advanced study, and graduate certificates. Our ceremony will begin with the singing of the national anthem by members of the Buffalo State Chamber Choir, directed by Chair and Associate Professor of Music, Victoria J. Furby.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We welcome each of you to the 2021 commencement ceremony, and I extend congratulations to the graduates. I now have the privilege of introducing SUNY Chancellor Jim Malitras to offer his opening remarks.
To the graduating class of 2021, today we celebrate over 90,000 graduating SUNY students. I know this is not how you expected your final semester to have gone. Since March of last year, as the world went into quarantine and we began a new normal of social distancing and masking up, you had to adapt to the uncertainties of what was to come, to juggle new responsibilities, all while continuing on the path of completing your education. In the face of a global health crisis, you persevered. Whether it was making the transition to online learning, having to move back home to continue your studies, or not being able to be with your friends, teammates, and a favorite faculty and staff member. And despite it all, many of you stepped up to help out your campuses on the front lines with their COVID-19 efforts, from volunteering with testing, to administering vaccines, to providing academic support to those struggling with remote learning. You made sure that your communities were being taken care of. That is who SUNY is. That's who you are. You also created art, conducted research, and found your passions. You did it all. And I know it hasn't been easy, but today we celebrate your hard-earned and well-deserved degree. Although many of our campuses are unable to celebrate this important milestone with you with all the pomp and circumstance that you deserve, let it be known that we are all so proud of the class of 2021, the grit and determination you have shown to complete your studies, no matter the obstacles thrown in your way. You are to be admired, lauded, and always remembered. I'll cherish the opportunities I've had this year to meet so many of you, both in person and virtually, and to hear your inspiring stories. Like Madison Cunningham, who I met at my visit to Corning Community College, who is creating a toy for children with sensory processing disorders using 3D printing, and volunteers her time at the local hospital. Or Ilian Alexandre, a first-generation U Albany student and a recipient of the Norman R. McConney Jr. Award for Student Excellence, who hopes to continue on to medical school and work in emergency medicine. And Ramatu Muhammad, a SUNY Potsdam International Studies major and diversity ambassador who will be continuing her studies at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. Or Jacob Eckhouse from Binghamton University, who through the Student Voices Action Committee helped create the Food Pantry Refrigeration Grant Program for all SUNY campuses. Or Kaylee Hosrath of SUNY Geneseo, who stepped up as a student volunteer, using her training as an operations chief for Geneseo First Response EMT service, when all students had to be tested before leaving for Thanksgiving break. And Darian Hunt from Farmingdale State College, who recently received the inaugural Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Chancellor's Award for Student Excellence for being a champion of racial justice and equity on his campus. And Omar Guy, who grew up in Gambia and who is now completing his studies at Sullivan. As you all look toward the future, know that your SUNY education has prepared you to succeed in whatever you put your mind to, whether it be furthering your education or joining the workforce. You and your fellow graduates will continue the SUNY legacy of leaving a positive impact on your communities, always striving to solve for our world's most pressing problems and being stewards of excellence and innovation. As the newest members of the 3 million strong SUNY alumni family, I wish you luck as you start this exciting next chapter in your life, and I look forward to seeing all that you accomplish. I know you will do great things. Congratulations.
I now have the privilege of introducing President Catherine Conway Turner to offer her commencement address.
Greetings to family members, friends, alumni, and especially to the class of 2021. On behalf of the faculty and staff at Buffalo State College, I welcome you to our 2021 virtual commencement ceremony. Although health precautions due to the pandemic have prevented us from convening in person, your campus has employed creativity to develop our 2021 commencement ceremony in such a way that we can celebrate this significant milestone together. I enjoyed meeting many graduates during our pre-commencement events on the quad, and I look forward to future opportunities to learn of where your adventures and travels will take you. This ceremony will also allow me to officially confer you with your well-deserved academic degrees and honors. We will share many expressions of congratulations, noteworthy presentations, and special remarks. We are proud of our 2021 graduates. The completion of your degree marks a significant and important achievement in your academic career. Each of you are now prepared to move forward and leave within your chosen area of study and interest. For some of you, the next step will be that much anticipated job or adventure with your degree in hand. And for others, you're off to advanced study for a professional certification. And for some, your degree allows further advancement within your current career path. Today's academic achievement offers all graduates an advancement and a new opportunity to move forward. You are ready to roar, graduates. This last few semesters here were a test of your motivation, your fortitude, and your persistence. You passed the test. You learned what it takes to pivot and still be successful, and you've often heard your campus community members express the importance of these 3 words: believe, inspire, and achieve. Today, for one final time, I share how important it is for you to embrace the meaning of these 3 words as you move forward. It is important for you to believe in yourself and know that you can make a difference in your community and in your world in ways that are meaningful to you. You must know and remind yourself of the importance of self-belief and confidence in your talents and in your abilities. If you don't believe you can accomplish something, you can easily convince yourself not to even try. I remember a story my husband has recounted on several occasions. He was once a young man who was a college track team participant, where he was a sprinter. However, he didn't believe he could outpace another young man who was known to be very fast. Time and time again, when he was pitted against his peer, he lost. His coach approached him one day and asked if he knew why he couldn't surpass his teammate. Of course, he said. He said, it's because my teammate was faster. His coach said, no, you are actually faster. It is because you don't believe you can beat him. With that knowledge, he was able to recognize that he was stopping himself from winning, and in a very short time, he went on to eclipse the time of his teammate. You have to believe in yourself and your ability to succeed in ways that are important to you. That coach also served as a source of inspiration. You must allow yourself to be inspired just as you inspire others. Who and what inspires you is important to know. As a member of the Buffalo State community, you have faculty, staff, coaches, counselors, peers, family members, and others who've inspired you. The question is, how will you keep inspirational spirits around you? Perhaps you are inspired by a beautiful poem, a sunset, or a speech that touches you in some important way. I urge you to find inspiration within your world. I advise you to gather people and communities around you who inspire you to greatness. As a young girl, I was often inspired by the poets and the novelists and storytellers who I found were documented in the pages of books. I was inspired by the beauty of nature and the compassion of those who sought to help people in need and who fought for a just world. What inspired you is really unique, but it is necessary to cultivate the sources of inspiration as you continue to grow and move forward. Many of you know that I have frequently visited Haiti, partnering with an organization that elevates the health, education, and economic development of a rural community in northeast portion of that country. My commitment to Haiti has now reached 15 years. How the time has flown. Each conversation I've had with members of the Born community and each visit inspires me. There I have found yet another community of people who work together, struggle together, and support each other. I find that inspirational. They may not have a lot of material wealth, but they are rich in spirit, in community connection, in kindness, and in resilience. I recommend that you seek out encouragements of inspiration in your life. Do not seek or foster discouragement and hopelessness, but instead, turn your eyes toward promise and a better future. I ask you to grasp hope in hopeful ways, to nourish forgiveness and future happiness, and to strive to be the grace in the room and not the gloom. During your years at Buffalo State, you have also been focused on your personal and academic achievement. You've achieved great things within your chosen field and within your community. I counsel you to continue to set goals and move toward true and authentic achievement. I know that it is not always easy to meet or exceed your goals. This past year and a half have given us unimaginable difficulties, things to really maneuver one thing after the other, as a country, as a state, and as a world community. We've faced staggering levels of death and illness, and we've witnessed acts of racism and discrimination and assaults on values and principles many of us hold sacred. We have felt pain and traumas as acts of injustice have flowed at an alarming rate. We have felt times of loss and anger and sadness right here on our campus. Although we face many challenges, do not let it diminish the joy of today's achievement. Your belief in yourself and tapping into your inspiration have led you to meet and exceed your goals. The difficult times you have faced in the past will not be the only ones. People before you, you, and those after you have overcome obstacles as they moved ahead to achieve. As Langston Hughes penned in a poem entitled Mother to Son in 1922. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time, I's been a-climbing on, and reaching landings, and turning corners, and sometimes going in the dark, where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back. Don't you sit down on those steps, 'cause you find it's kind of hard. Don't you fall now, for I's still going, honey. I's still climbing, and life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Buffalo State graduates, no matter where your journey started, and no matter how difficult your journey has been, today you complete an important academic goal. Today be known to all that you have crossed the finish line and completed a significant and important milestone. And if you continue to chant the important words of believe, inspire, and achieve, you'll be able to handle whatever crosses your path, whether it's a pebble, a boulder, or an earthquake. Each member of 2021 undergraduate and graduate class has experienced twists and turns as they completed their academic and educational goals. You each have an individual story, and here I'll share just a few lines from the storybooks of some of our students. Among our graduates today, you'll find Damian Boyd, who is completing his undergraduate degree in education. He rode his bike to and from his student teaching placement in the city, rain or shine, and is graduating with a 4.0 GPA. During his placement, his mentor recounted that Damian nurtured each child academically by setting a high bar, and he was an invaluable member of the teaching team. And Erica Green is graduating today as our first bachelor's degree recipient in Africana Studies major. It took her 3 attempts at college before completing her degree, and today she stands for someone who did not give up her dream, and she graduates proudly and wishes to inspire others to never give up on their dream. And Munirah Ali is graduating with a bachelor's degree in chemistry and a minor in mathematics with an overall GPA of 3.92. She arrived in the U.S. from Bangladesh when she was 16. Learning the English language and the U.S. culture was necessary for the success that she has found. She has completed significant research projects and has been awarded the Edmund Schulman Award for Undergraduate Research in both 2020 and 2021, and the American Chemical Society's Award in Organic Chemistry as well. Comay graduates today with a degree in social work with a 3.64 GPA. She grew up in a refugee camp in the border of Burma and Thailand after fleeing the horrors of war. Her resilience and spirit have helped her successfully manage her difficult personal journey and the obstacles she has faced as she moved to success. Among our many master's degree recipients are problem solvers, community leaders, and passionate advocates for our community. Erica Luz Cabrera Rivera was raised by a single father with the help of her grandparents. In 2001, as a young mother, she moved to Buffalo and began her climb to complete her master's degree and teach in a bilingual exceptional education class. From GED to associate degree to bachelor's degree and now a master's, Erica has not wavered from her dream to make a difference for students for whom English is not their first language and for whom education attainment is a challenge. And Dr. Noor Bag is completing his Master of Science degree in Creative Studies. As a physician in Pakistan, he had a dream of developing a framework to train communities to help when they are facing life-threatening emergencies. He was inspired by his mother's death from sudden cardiac arrest and decided he wanted to train community members life-saving skills like CPR and hemorrhage control. His master's project, when implemented, will indeed save lives. These are just a few of the nearly 2,000 stories of the class of 2021. These are Buffalo State stories, and they make up the fabric of our campus. They add to the vibrancy and uplifting stories that typify our college. Students, wherever you go, you will take a part of this great campus with you. You will remember the faculty who taught you, and especially those favorite faculty and staff members who helped you move along your path towards success. You will always be a part of the campus that believes not only in a high-quality education, but in the connections to the broader community. Buffalo State stands for social justice, equity, and inclusion, and we are willing to lean into securing a just society for all. This is Buffalo State College, your campus, and we will always be a part of you. As you move throughout life, people will ask you where you went to college and what your campus was like. You will tell them your story, which is the Buffalo State story. You now have a wonderful foundation but your future experiences will open new doors for you to travel, new mountains to climb, and new adventures to explore. Keep your spirit of growth, and you will find amazing avenues and opportunities open to you. You are the class of 2021. You are a force for good in the world, and I look forward to having you back on campus as members of the alumni community and to hear about the amazing things you do as you move forward. Congratulations again, class of 2021.
Lift every voice and sing till heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing notes fire as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the darkness has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
This year, several of our graduates have been honored by the State University of New York with the Chancellor's Award for Student Excellence. The Chancellor's Award is the highest honor bestowed by the State University of New York upon a student. The award recognizes a model student who has integrated academic excellence with achievements in areas such as athletics, community service, creative and performing arts, entrepreneurship, leadership, and career achievement. These students were formally recognized by the SUNY Chancellor, Jim Malatras, earlier this year. At Buffalo State, it has been a long-standing tradition to present these fine students to the faculty, staff, and their fellow graduates at commencement. You will find a full description of each student's accomplishments and your program. These awards bring distinction to the recipients and honor to Buffalo State. Matei Swartz, Master of Science in Creativity and Change Leadership. Victoria Grace D. Carabizzi, Master of Arts in Biology, SUNY Chancellor's Award for Student Excellence, Special Award for Overcoming the Odds. We are extremely proud to recognize the recipients of the SUNY Chancellor's Award for Student Excellence. Congratulations. We're excited to recognize our student speaker for this commencement ceremony, Ijaz J. Aberhart. With the highest graduate student award given at Buffalo State, the President's Medal for Outstanding Graduate Student. Ms. Eberhart has earned a Master of Science degree in Multidisciplinary Studies in the Data Science and Analytics track, attaining a 3.73 GPA in a discipline that varies greatly from her prior academic and professional experiences in journalism. Throughout her collegiate career, Ms. Eberhart has incorporated key values outlined in the Buffalo State College's mission statement into her personal, academic, and professional endeavors. As an active undergraduate student leader, she received the SUNY Chancellor's Award for Student Excellence in 2019. As a graduate student, she has excelled in applying academic research to real-life situations. While working in the professional lab and developing an application for Amherst Senior Transportation Services, she has been doing extensive research into user interface and user experience design considerations for senior citizens. Learning how to integrate inclusive and accessible designs and technologies has allowed her to develop a better understanding of how the digital age can marginalize specific populations if users of all abilities and levels of expertise and technology are not considered. Committed to improving her campus community, Ms. Everhart helped develop student and faculty handbooks for the Multidisciplinary Studies program in her role as a SUNY Graduate Diversity Fellow. As a graduate assistant in Marketing and Communications Office, she wrote numerous news stories, coordinated media campaigns, and contributed to the college's social media platforms. She has also conducted independent reporting on local social justice movements to provide individuals of diverse backgrounds within a way to share their perspectives on important topics. A former weekend anchor at WBFO-FM, Ms. Everhart currently works as a multimedia journalist and a video producer for Spectrum in Buffalo.
Good afternoon, Buffalo State College community, faculty, staff, students, and everyone who is celebrating this moment with us today. I'm so proud to share this moment with you, even though we can't be together in physical space. It is the spirit of the college that unites us all. You know, I remember reading a question someone posed online once. If you could say one thing to the entire world, where everyone could hear you and understand you, no language barriers, no issues of accessibility, what would you say? My answer? Love. That's it, just the word love. Whether it be interpreted as a noun or a verb, a call to action or a reminder, I would hope that it would genuinely mean something to someone. While I may not be talking to everyone in the world right now, while I do have this platform, I would just like to say, love. I've decided to base everything around this one word today because I truly hope that it was love in its purest form that brought you to this moment. When you declared your major, when you made the decision to rearrange your schedule, your priorities, and your entire life. When you saw a happier, more successful, more accomplished version of yourself and said, I'm going to be that person. That's the type of love I'm talking about, that takes you beyond where you are and straight to where you could be, even if you're the only one who sees the vision. And I hope you always love yourself enough to know that your vision for your life is the right one, and that you are so worth everything that you're working towards. Let love also remind us to honor and cherish those who we are grateful and fortunate enough to share love with. As a matter of fact, I hope you're watching this with those very people or even that one person, because it's not always about why you do it, but also who you do it for. Love is selfless in that way. As beautiful of a thing as love is, however, I must admit there's something quite scary that comes along with it, and that's complacency. Have you ever loved something, maybe even someone, and after a while, through the passage of time, you found that pivotal moments became common occurrences and you stopped even feeling the need to try? You know, I used to believe that if it were that easy to fall out of love, maybe you're never really in love in the first place. I've come to find that's not necessarily true. As we've seen our entire world change over the past year, and as it continues to do so, it's become rather easy to become disenchanted with so many things, including life itself. But what is life without love? For it is love that gives us the freedom to dream, the courage to fight, and the strength to believe. It gives us something to motivate us, something worth waking up in the morning for. And while it's normal at times to feel unmotivated or uninspired, never allow yourself to feel ungrateful, because love demands more from you than that. It demands that you cherish the now, that you cherish everything and every moment, taking it all in and keeping it in your heart and in your mind. And the final thing that I want to say is that I hope you always remember the regenerative power of love, because love never dies. While I hope that you would carry on the path that you started or continued when you pursued your graduate studies, it's okay if maybe you may need to find yourself choosing a different destination. If it's not everything you thought it would be, if it doesn't spark that fire in your soul that you thought it would, if this new life isn't the life you imagined, please don't count yourself a failure and don't count your time wasted. If you fall out of love, know when to walk away, because love will find you, but not in places where it's forced to grow without roots. But what love does have the power to do is regenerate your navigation. You know, if things go left, love can take you very much in the right direction. So all I want to say to you is that I hope you never forget why you fell in love with the first place, with whatever it is that you're in love with. Live love, do all things for love and because of love. God is love, and love is my ministry. I hope you take this not as a speech, but as a sermon, because I practice what I preach, and what I practice is love, and I hope it is love that you practice too in all things. I leave you with love.
Thank you, Ijaz, for those inspiring words. Congratulations to you again on your well-deserved recognition. The President's Distinguished Service Award recognizes individuals or groups who have made significant, sustained contributions to Buffalo State College and are the larger community. Recipients are selected by the President upon recommendation of a committee of faculty and staff. The President considers the following criteria in making the award: educating the individual, serving the public, and enriching the community. This year, I'm excited to present the President's Distinguished Service Award to Buffalo Mayor Byron W. Brown, Buffalo State Class of 1983. Mayor Brown has led the revitalization of Buffalo and has been an invaluable partner to Buffalo State and our students. We are proud to be able to recognize him for his significant public service and impact. Please refer to your program for more information on Mayor Brown and enjoy his remarks.
It's an incredible honor for me to receive the Buffalo State College President's Distinguished Service Award. I gained a great foundation at Buffalo State College from my very first semester as a 17-year-old from New York City. I appreciated the interesting classes and warm environment that included interaction with so many talented students, committed professors, and dedicated college leadership. This is a special place that brought out the best in me, both in the classroom and in college life. I pledged Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, eventually becoming the chapter president, as well as being an officer of the campus's Afro-American Student Association and the Inter-Greek Association. I was also elected vice president of the United Students Government and played on the junior varsity basketball team. Those experiences, along with my classroom studies, put me on a lifelong path of community service. It was an honor to be a voice for my fraternity brothers and the student body and make lifelong friends in the process. I've been fortunate to build on those early leadership experiences to become a city council member, a New York State senator, chairman of the New York State Democratic Party, and for the last 15 years, the mayor of my adopted hometown, the city of Buffalo, New York. I've also enjoyed returning to Buffalo State over the years, and for the last 3 years, serving as a professor of practice teaching in the college's Master of Public Administration program. All that started right here on this campus. Thank you, President Catherine Conway Turner. I am deeply honored to receive this award. I will always be a proud Bengal.
Thank you, Mayor Brown, for your kind words and continued support for your alma mater. In addition, I'm thrilled to present the President's Distinguished Service Medal to Mr. Ross B. Kinsey, former chairman and CEO of Gold Dome Bank. A former chair of the Buffalo State College Council, Mr. Kinsey established the Ross B. Kinsey Family Presidential Scholarship at Buffalo State to provide opportunities to promising students. We are proud to be able to recognize him for his long-term impact on the college. Please refer to your program for more information on Mr. Kinsey. Although Mr. Kinsey was unable to join us today, he sends the following remarks.
Madam President and the entire Buffalo State community, please accept my sincere appreciation for this exceptional honor. It carries great significance to me and my family. When I arrived in Buffalo in 1979 to join the executive team at Buffalo Savings Bank, which would later become Gold Dome, I knew that I wanted to be immersed in the revitalization of downtown Buffalo and Western New York. With the support of my late wife, Langley, I was fortunate to be invited to serve on the boards of such noteworthy organizations as the Greater Buffalo Chamber of Commerce, now the Buffalo Partnership, the Greater Buffalo Development Foundation, the Business Council of the State of New York, Millard Fillmore Hospitals, Kaleida Health Education and Research Foundation, the Western New York Commission on Healthcare Reform, the Buffalo Philharmonic, the University at Buffalo, and several other prestigious organizations who have served residents of Western New York with dedication. I was proud of my association with each and every institution. One organization always stood out to me and my family, Buffalo State College. I've had the honor of serving on the College Council or the Foundation Board since 1980 and chaired the former for 18 years. From my seat on those august bodies, I observed the exemplary work being done by Buffalo State College faculty and staff on behalf of the student body. I gained a deep appreciation for the leadership at the college, from Dr. Bruce Johnstone through Dr. Catherine Conway Turner, who I hold in the highest esteem. That perspective led my wife and me to establish the Ross B. Kenzie Family Presidential Scholarship, which is designed to enhance diversity by awarding scholarships to academically talented minority students. My family and I have proudly and fervently supported that scholarship every year since day one. And nothing gives us more pleasure than to interact with those students, to learn their stories, to hear their aspirations, and to know that we were able to contribute to their success. I humbly accept this award on behalf of my late wife Langley, my daughters Rachel and Mary, our grandchildren, and all of the remarkable students at Buffalo State College.
Thank you, Mr. Kenzie, for your inspiring words and actions. The honorary doctorate degree is the highest form of recognition offered by the State University of New York to persons of exceptional distinction. Its purpose is to recognize those whose lives and significant achievements are widely known and highly regarded. It is my honor and with the greatest of pride that I now bestow upon Joy Harjo the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, from the State University of New York. Joy Harjo, the 23rd Poet Laureate, consultant in poetry in the United States Library of Congress, is serving her third consecutive term as U.S. Poet Laureate. She is the first Native American to hold the position and only the second Poet Laureate ever to be appointed to an exceptional third term. Born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Ms. Harjo is a member of the Muscogee Creek Nation and belongs to Hickory Ground. She left home to attend high school at the Innovative Institute of American Indian Arts, which was then a Bureau of Indian Affairs school. She began writing poetry as a member of the University of New Mexico's Native Student Organization, the SIVA Club, in response to Native empowerment movements. She went on to earn her MFA at the Iowa Writers Workshop and to teach English creative writing and American Indian Studies at UCLA, the Universities of New Mexico, Arizona, Arizona State, Illinois, Colorado, Hawaii, and Tennessee, and her alma mater, the Institute of American Indian Arts, while performing music and poetry nationally and internationally. She is the author of 9 books of poetry, including her most recent, the highly acclaimed An American Sunrise, which won the 2020 Oklahoma Book Award. Conflict Resolution for Holy Beings, which was shortlisted for the Griffin Poetry Prize and named a notable book of the year by the American Library Association. And In Mad Love and War, which received the American Book Award and the Delmore Swartz Memorial Award. Her first memoir, Crazy Brave, was awarded the PEN USA Literary Award in Creative Nonfiction and the American Book Award. And her second, Poet Warrior, A Call for Love and Justice, is forthcoming from W.W. Norton this fall. As a musician, she performs solo and with her band, the Aerodynamics Band. She has toured across the United States and in Europe, and in South America, and India, and Africa, and in Canada. In addition to serving as U.S. Poet Laureate, Ms. Harjo is a Chancellor of the Academy of American Poets. We're delighted to present Ms. Harjo's commencement address to the class of 2021.
As I speak to you from the corner in my apartment in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I am imagining all of us gathered beneath towering trees dressed in opulent green, with rows of students and dignitaries in ceremonial dress. In our imaginary graduation, we have no need for masks. We are gathered post-pandemic and we jubilantly embrace this moment. We have found a way to incorporate difference, and there are no more killings of each other based on race, culture, sexual preference, or status of any sort. Each of us is celebrated for our difference, for what our diversity brings to the collective story. The earth is flourishing. There is no caging of children at any border. There are no borders, no sex trafficking. Women occupy a place as valued as men in all of society and respected, even paid the same. Poetry is as revered as football. Imagine. Isn't imagination what has brought us all to this moment of time, to this doorway of becoming? It's the imagination of the poets, artists, scientists, healers, teachers, warriors, mothers, fathers, all those within whose pathways we continue. We are in it, and it is always moving. Each thought, each dream, each gesture changes it, and it changes us. As you stand here together at this doorway of your becoming, realize that each of you has imagined each step, and it is imagination and fortitude that have enabled you to move through the many challenges that mark your journey to this graduation moment. At this moment, you hold the tools you need to help remake and inspire a universe that will be passed on to the next generations. Imagine that seated near are families, friends, staff, and professors who have accompanied you on this journey. Birds, the sky messengers, keep on with their stories above us. They are as important as ours. And this earth, this place, original Haudenosaunee territory is still tended by the people and their ancestors in their songs, prayers, and stories of goodwill and connection with all that sustains our human bodies, minds, and hearts. We are essentially the earth, for without it, without the tremendous gifts and inspiration of the earth, we would not be here. There would be no fortification of our bodies with nourishment and no inspiration or insight to nourish our minds and spirits. I am here before you because of my story. Mine is an unlikely story. I remember standing at this moment, not ceremonially, as I did not attend either of my graduations. I had no funds for graduation costs, and most of all, there was no family nearby to attend. I graduated as a single Native mother with a major in creative writing poetry, both for my BA and MFA degrees. And now, here I am, standing with you, the class of 2021, dressed for graduation, 45 and 47 years later. It's never too late. There is a reason there is never a table for poets for career day in high school. Poetry, I've learned, is a calling, is a need planted in enough of us because we need the artists, we need the poets for the continuance of the spirit of a people. We do not become poets because of great income potential or for recognition. There is a deeper truth made of words and sounds and meaning that we follow. I still do not understand this path, though I have learned to follow it dutifully. I came to poetry because of my immersion in human rights as a young Native rights activist when I was an undergraduate. In those years of study and becoming, I heard real Native poets for the first time as I worked with fellow students, staff, and faculty who came together to assist in the need for human rights and justice. I have come to see that this path was planted in me generations back to my great-grandfather Manahui and the Red Sticks of the Muskogee Creek Nation stand against unjust removal from our homelands, and even from before that time. I am driven by a need for justice, and in poetry, I found a way to speak beyond words. There's a reason that poets are usually at the forefront or somewhere near of human rights or social justice movements. We are truth tellers. We have an obligation to speak what we see, what we hear, even if the truth is difficult to bear. That's the charge of being a poet. One of my first poems written during this time of becoming a poet. One of my first poems, yes, was written during this time of becoming a poet. It was a poem given to teach me. I say given, yet I don't mean to imply that we are just inspired and write things down and then suddenly there's a poem. Maybe that's true for a very few. The inspiration is only part of it. We work similarly to mathematicians and other scientists. We follow a question. There may never be an answer, and there is never just one answer. We pull out our tools of words, metaphor, music, history, time, philosophy, and need, get to work to see what we will find in the architecture of lines, phrases, and sounds. Some poems require heavy revision. Others practically step out into the breathing world completed. This was a poem to teach me and to teach many others. It isn't the most technically outstanding. It doesn't show off syntactically, nor does it profoundly test the dictionary. It is exactly who it is, and it does exactly what it was meant to do. This poem, remember, has had a long life so far. It is being made into a book now, a movie, and it is going into outer galaxies on Lucy, a NASA spacecraft on the first reconnaissance of the Jupiter Trojans this October. And it still teaches us. It teaches me. Maybe it will assist you. This is the poem, remember. Remember the sky you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon, know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn, that is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and the giving away tonight. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her mother's life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father, he is your life also. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk with them, listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind. Remember her voice. She knows the origin of this universe. Remember you are all people and all people are you. Remember you are this universe and this universe is you. Remember all is in motion, is growing as you. Remember. During those times when I was starting out my life as a poet, I faced many personal challenges. I had many mentors who helped me through those moments that included despair, grief, financial hardships, and violence. Some of the mentors were the musicians, singers, and songwriters I listened to as an oral map of inspiration in the imagination. John Coltrane lifted me up to the sky. The poetry and stories of the Laguna Pueblo poet Leslie Silko taught me that there were many roads to poetry, to becoming a writer, to the craft of making poetry and stories. One of the most influential poets of the 20th century, Charles Olson, an American poetry ancestor, a mentor I only met in his books of poetry, served as a distinguished professor here at the State University of New York, Buffalo from 1963 to 1965. I studied his projective verse, in which Olson called for a poetic meter based on breath and open construction like a field based on sound rather than syntax and logic. Another mentor is someone who won't be in our books of Native history and accomplishment, though she holds such a place for many of us. She did not want her name out there and would not want me to say it here, as much as I would love to say her name. Her work was about upholding Pueblo Indian values and lifeways in a way that would fit with challenging times and changing times. In doing so, she was constantly challenged even by her own people. In times when I was battling, she understood. She counseled me, be yourself. That imperative sounded so simple and easy to a young, fresh graduate, but it became one of the most profound teachings, an invaluable gift from a humble mentor. Only now I have come to understand how essential it is for all of us to be ourselves. And this is a little piece about her, this humble mentor. My favorite room exists now only in the imagination. That's how I visit it these days. I turn left into the yard of the small adobe house and park near the corn patch, which is by the clothesline. I knock on the kitchen door and she lets me in, as she has done more times than I know, in many seasons of weather. It is always warm with sunlight. Dishes are drying on the side of the sink. Either she, her sister, or a niece gets me coffee. In later years, she had a cane. We talk family, village, and native community gossip. Sometimes we put on music and everyone danced. She distrusted computers, said they stole people, kept their attention from what mattered. We'd walk back through the small hallway, the neat living room decorated with Pendleton blankets and Indian rugs. There were baskets, potteries, and family photos. I remember visiting when her mother lived there, and during feast days when the house filled with tables of food and the commotion of serving, talking, and laughter. We'd go to her special room, the place where the medicine box lived, her herbs, the various items given to her by those who she helped, and her altar. She had a small shop in town where she worked. The numbers of street people who were predominantly native grew each year. She would feed them, find them clothing, and otherwise help any way she could. She never turned anyone down who asked for help. She always gave my daughter and son words of assistance in whatever they were studying or doing. My daughter stayed with her on weekends from Indian school when I lived out of town. Through the years, my children loved to visit her. Many came to her from all over the world for her teachings that were rooted in her spiritual knowledge. She had many invitations to travel and teach, but she did not want to put herself out in that way. Her spiritual energy was a healing light, and people were drawn to it, to her stories. Her Pueblo roots were powerful anchors to the land. Her room was thick with song resonance. Through her eyes, I came to see that all is spiritual, and we either move about respectfully within it, or we are lost. One day we went back to her room and she pulled out her drum. We sang the song she was given when she had gone to the Sandia Mountains for cedar. Yahi, 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 yahi. Her hands were the color of the drum. They appeared to be made from this same earth. She later gave me that drum. When I sing that song for the cedar and what it brings, it reminds me of the spiritual path that sometimes appears dim in the smoke of historical deception. One of my favorite memories in this life will be sitting outside near the corn patch on a bench with my daughter and her little boys, my grandsons, waiting for her to drive up. The boys squat in the sandy dirt, running it through their hands. Our love for them plays about their shoulders. It catches the light of the love with which the corn was planted, with which the yard and house was tended, with which her life was lived. Let's thank the many mentors who inspired you. You would not be here without them. They have gifted you with resilience, reclamation, and relevance. Let's remember that whatever history we experience, whatever pandemic, division within a country, within a people, within ourselves, that each of us, that we know, and remember that each of us is valuable and come bearing gifts to share. There is no hierarchy. Each of us is charged to leave this place giving back more than we came in here with. Acknowledge the familial ancestors who stand with you now, who have lined up behind you to urge you on. Let's give gratitude for this earth that spins through sky and time, gives us a home for our story making. Isn't that what we humans do? Make stories with all sorts of materials and paths, each so individual, yet with collective meaning. Now, go on with your timeless imaginations and gifts and make your story.
At Buffalo State, it has been a long-standing tradition to present our alumni awards at commencement in front of our faculty, staff, and graduates. While these awards will be formally presented at a later time, we wish to take a moment to recognize our Alumni Award recipients. Distinguished Alumnus Award, Linda R. Appleby, Class of 1980. Distinguished Alumnus Award, Michael J. Garner, Class of 1983. The Young Alumnus Achievement Award, Raven P. Baxter, Class of 2014 and 2017. Young Alumnus Achievement Award, Nathan E. Moroz, Class of 2016. It has become a Buffalo State tradition to recognize those who have encouraged and assisted today's graduates. We now would like to take a moment to thank the family members, spouses, and special friends of our graduates for the support they have provided. We applaud you on this very important day. We also would like to thank the faculty and staff who encouraged and assisted our graduates throughout their journey. It is now my pleasure to introduce Provost James Mayrose to present the degree candidates approved by the faculty.
Thank you, Madam President. We take a moment to recognize today's participants who have put themselves in harm's way in service to our country. Thank you to all those in the graduating class who are current or former members of the armed forces. We also acknowledge the family and friends joining us virtually today who are current and former members of the armed forces. On behalf of the entire Buffalo State College community, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. As Chief Academic Officer of Buffalo State College, it is my duty to certify that each candidate has upheld the academic standards of this institution and that they have fulfilled the requirements for the degrees and certificates for which they have been recommended. I do so now and call upon Dean Kevin Miller of the Graduate School for the presentation of candidates.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kevin Miller, Dean of the Graduate School. I'd like to congratulate the candidates from the Masters of Arts, Master of Music, Master of Public Administration, Master of Science in Education, Certificate of Advanced Study, and Graduate Certificate programs. Madam President, it gives me great pleasure to present these candidates and those in absentia who have completed the requirements of their respective curricula.
Our graduate school faculty will now announce the graduates.
Now reading for the Department of Adult Education, Woods Beale Endowed Chair, Dr. Javon Hunter.
Munirah Ali. Tyler Alamonte. Emily Callaghan. Rachel Ciszewski. Liam Doherty. Jeffrey Dugan. Melissa Eloff. Gregory Garrett Jr. Corey Gasparini. Tracy Groves. Matthew Jerembeck. William Langer. Jessica Martin. Lauren Maynard. Lori McGuire. Margaret Mitchell. Rebecca Moshier. Donna Nowak. Kimberly Stahl. Stephanie Stoll. Cynthia Travers. Anna Campbell. Danielle Gates. Corinna Lorera Barcinas. Christian Wheatley.
Now reading for the Garmin Art Conservation Department, Director and Associate Professor Patrick Ravines.
Nicole Alvarado. Melissa Amundsen. Tamia Anaya. Clara Balin. Anita Day. Rachel Childers. Anna Ersenkal. Nicole Flam. Stephanie Guidera. Heather Hodge. Perrine Lisseau. Rio Lopez. Christine Manwiller. Elena Mars. Barbara Nosek. Nicole Schmidt. Elizabeth Sjöblom. Allison Slenker. Grace Walters. Colleen Watkins.
Now reading for the Department of Biology, Professor Dr. Christopher Panuto.
Katie Bryant. Victoria Grace Karambizi.
Now reading for the Department of Biology, Assistant Professor Dr. David Zhang.
Bright Says. Benjamin Shago. Robert White.
Now reading for the Department of Career and Technical Education, Chair and Associate Professor Dr. Steve Mocco.
Leanne Wills. Michael Cook. Jason Fitzner. Peter Flanagan. Joshua Goodman. Justin Herkey. Stephen Hummel. Emily Lehner. Katie Mangus. Julie Mayer. Jordan Tavik. Joy Thompson. Daniel Wendt. Donna Wilson. Kavana Wilson Dowell. Ezeal Bullock. Jeffrey Cifelli. Michael Dosher. Miles Marshall. Scott Tinney.
Now reading for the Department of Chemistry, Chair and Professor Dr. Kimberly Bagley.
Elizabeth Barone. Ashley Coggins Block. Dejanik Devone. Elizabeth Good. Christopher Hoyt. Emily Sue. Brianne Steinley.
Now reading for the Public Relations Program, Chair and Associate Professor of Communication, Dr. Deborah Silverman.
Evelyn Esquero. Ariana German. Jennifer Hahn. Mariela Mejias. Elizabeth Ogundeko. Chastity Van Every.
Now reading for the Department of Creativity and Change Leadership, Chair and Professor Dr. Gerard Puccio.
Karian Armashevitz, Noor Bayag, Rebecca Bateson Brown, Lucy Bonamigo Vals, Mary Brown, Philip Brunner, Bobby Caswell, Tamika Davis, William Osborne Fogarty, Will Folaranmi, Tom Gannon, Kara Grant, Dwight Hainu, Marcia Huber, Mayo Hudding, Nicole Jones, Nagma Khan.
Now reading for the Department of Creativity and Change Leadership, Associate Professor Dr. Susan Keller Mathers.
Tanya Newson, Amanda Loheiser, Heidi Matthey, Tabitha McNabb, Morgan Miron, Effie Mitch Illides, Diana Pies Sendoval, Jacint Proctor, Jane Proudlove, Jua Rand, Meredith Rutherford, Juliet Ripley Dungelberger, Matei Swartz, Cynthia Sepúlveda, Erne Ten Anshore, Rachel Volker Coleman, Kirk Young, Kimberly Zanti.
Now reading for the Department of Criminal Justice, Chair and Associate Professor of Criminal Justice, Dr. James Sobol.
Alamide Aruja, Shavin Fung, Stephanie Montas, Thomas Plato, Jacob Rackwell, Mia Rich, Amanda Wasieko.
Now reading for the Interdisciplinary Unit of Data Science and Analytics, Professor and Director, Dr. Joaquin Carbonera.
Olu Adeniji, Zahir Amlani, Uwa Ayanru, Matthew Berge, Thomas Bidney, Sarah Berkeley, Mackenzie Doctor, Jeremy Garson, James Gravas, Xianling Kong, John Maley, Thomas Mariano, Ran Ning, Joseph Skowronski, Luen Yin.
Now reading for the Applied Economics Program, Chair and Professor Dr. Fred Floss.
Mark Arthur Bartholomew, Clarence Jacob Boatman, Kirsten Krug, Yako Lee, Jonathan Myers,
Mitchell Moore, Lyle Wagner, Lynn Wang, Daniel Zielinski.
Now reading for the Certificate of Advanced Study in Educational Leadership, Dr. Peter Lohr.
Mary File, Callie Georger, Claribel Gonzalez, Bree Knight, Rose Kowalski, Heidi Lipka, Michael Labazetta, Aaron Myers, Lisa Petrello, Christopher Quayle, Sarah Qureshi, Lawrence Ramos Miranda, Melissa Sullivan, Brittany Van Gordon.
Now reading for the Department of Elementary Education, Literacy, and Educational Leadership, Associate Professor Dr. Sherry Weber.
Kayla Abramowski, Miranda Aiken, James Brockman, Emily Baker, Kayla Ballard, Angela Biger, Damian Boyd, Elizabeth Burgess, Gabrielle Burke, Samantha Cottrell, Richard Davila, Allison Eckstein, Cynthia Ford, Haley Gonzalez, Sarah Halpin, Kylene Holmes, Selena Lazo, Danielle Cable, Karen Krupperneck, Janice Legers, Gabriella Moss, Colette McDonald, Madeline Mitchell, Patrick Malcare, Dominique Morowski, Andrea Navis, Janelle Nitre, Laura Opalinsky, Stephen Piotrowski, Brianna Price, Kayla Pitts, Kaylin Regan, Jenna Riviera, Emma Ruggiero, John Sanchez Lopez, Elizabeth Santa Cruz, Anna Smolka, Nicole Strader, Lauren Supples, Jessica Zabo, Jessica Zabo, Pepper Thomas, Will Mary Torres, Amber Wagstaff, Phyllis Walker, Sarah Wyman, Colleen Wilkie, Melissa Zakrzek, Tori Aranka, Kimberly Beaton, Makisha Booker, Brianna Brown, Anthony Bueno, Alexis Casey, Christy Canales Padilla, Michaela Capistrani, Rachel Sirocco, Madison Coburn, Kaylee Compise, Renee Comperthat, Shiyu Ku, Natalie Colbert, Kelsey Curran, Michelle Dotz, Teresa Tonnesy, Roberta Duffy, Winter Dumont, Christina Fratsto, Yuquo Kong, Caitlin Good, Emily Hannell, Ebony Hennings, Alexandra Hogel, Nicole Jazak, Alexandra Kenyon, Jing Kang Kim, Gabrielle Lewis, Peng Liu, Kayin Ma, Marissa Marvert, Shannon McCooey, Hannah Moshier, Lindsay Moskal, Alexandria Motz, Alexandria Pace, Dilla Pantlin, Samantha Pelicano, Silvana Salomon, Carly Chimay, Yu Tong Shao, Caitlin Smith, Janine Sullivan, Gina Strudelsky, Julia Taboni, Abigail Vivian, Siki Wang, Amy Wheeler, Han Zhang, Ting Ting Zhang, Teng Zhao.
Now reading for the Department of Elementary Education, Literacy, and Educational Leadership, Professor and Program Coordinator, Dr. Kelly Garris York.
Kara Andrews, Elena Blank, Bethany Breggy, April Zarniak, Victoria De Amaro, Carmen D'Angelo, Taylor Denieri, Amanda Doster, Samantha Dutry, Christine Garris, Kimberly Grazen, Gina Hall, Julia Helfman, Samantha Herman, Ryan Kaminsky, Danielle Kelly, Liam Kelly, Brianna King, Catherine Layer, Kelsey Martin, Marissa Mergler, Shannon Myers, Danielle Milbrand, Brittany Miller, Taylor Miller, Heather Newberger, Amanda Pepe, Gwyneth Powers, Julia Reeser, Jenna Rennard, Kimberly Reynolds, Elizabeth Rich, Lauren Reitzer, Danielle Romanini, Jessica Safe, Janessa Sheridan, Melanie Smits, Erica Stokel, Kaylee Sumariski, Angela Syracuse, Rebecca Thrush, Brianna Ware, Dominique Whitted, Monica Young, Brianne Zabawa.
Now reading for the Program of Industrial Technology, Associate Professor and Program Coordinator, Dr. John Ershin.
David Brodzinski, David Evans, Eric Leffler, Malik McKenzie, Richard Roberts, Perry Schultz.
Now reading for the Department of English, Program Coordinator and Professor, Dr. Jennifer Ryan Bryant.
Brooke Christopher, Christina Hausler, Brendan McCabe, Brittany Mikulek, Brittany Morose, Christopher Nightingale, Laura Lee Tingley, Julio Valentin.
Now reading for the English Education Program, Program Coordinator and Associate Professor, Dr. James Sircon.
Andrew Alterio, Jamie Anarino, Philip Paluzzo, Jaquana Renfro, Katrina Scaglione.
Now reading for the Department of Exceptional Education, Associate Professor, Dr. Teresa Janzik.
Amber Amato, Annika Cleary, Megan Hayes, Kara Hinckley, Catherine Jean-Baptiste, Amanda Long, Anthony Matarana, Morgan Meisnikowski, Rebecca Moran, Julia O'Connor, Alyssa Snyder, Rebecca Tintor, Alexis Trice, Kristen Baumgardner, Ann Byer, Kimberly Bing, Emma Bowich, Caitlin Sahaki, Joseph Fisher.
Now reading for the Department of Exceptional Education, Associate Professor and Program Coordinator, Dr. Kathy Duty.
Anna Bargnesi, Sarah Braun, Whitney Coventry, Angela Curto, Angela Ferrantino, Jacqueline Galanka Whitcup, Allison Gunkler, Alicia Holtz, Kayla Lewandowski, Kataya Pichakabordi, Kitty, Grace Wisner, Alyssa Klafka, Madeline Mueller, Morgan Pulliam, Samuel Stirk, Katie Tobia, Barrett Whitmore.
Now reading for the Department of Exceptional Education, Assistant Professor and Coordinator of the Bilingual Exceptional Individuals Program, Dr. Glisette Cologne.
Abby Bardanes, Marisa Claudio, Ashley Colon, Eleanor Kuntz, Jonathan Cruz Colon, Jorge de Gro Jr., Dinora Morales Cruz, Betsaida Rivera, Emil Rivera, Erica Rivera, Shareli Rosario Rondon, John Sanchez Lopez, Tabitha Torres.
Now reading for the Multidisciplinary Studies Program, Assistant Professor of Exceptional Education, Dr. Glisette Cologne.
Jessica Bayless, Christina Booty, Christy Canales Padilla, Madison Coburn, Emily Rose Conforti, Maria DeFeo, Amanda DeRay, Coro Gama, Ji Kang Kim, Hannah Kins, Kayla Pick, Molly Rudder, Montaha Uden.
Now reading for the Department of Biology, Professor Dr. Christopher Panuto.
Zachary Adams, Stephanie Hansen, Lauren Martinek, Cecilia Pershin, Helen Toledo.
Now reading for the Department of Higher Education and Student Affairs Administration, Professor Dr. Kimberly Klein.
Madeline Burns, Joseph Grande, Shelley Innes Jackson, Alexis Laster, Margaret Letzelter, Mayreed Murray, Anthony Polito, Malik Albert, Donald Capers, Summer Cruz.
Now reading for the Department of Higher Education and Student Affairs Administration, Chair and Associate Professor, Dr. Amy Wilson.
Sade Garcia, Ada Garcia Pohl, Zachary Jones Butler, Alyssa Krozik, Paula Love, Natalie Nielsen, Danielle Nosito, Tia Owens, Jamerson Redfern, Katie Rodriguez.
Now reading for the Department of Higher Education and Student Affairs Administration, Assistant Professor Dr. Herman Diaz.
Eduvius Sanchez, Cassandra Sanzota, Daniel Scanlon, Anissa Charborough,
Alyssa Sievers, Mariah Swari, Heather Williams, Timona Williamson, Douglas Woolever.
Now reading for the Department of History and Social Studies Education, Chair and Professor Dr. Andrew Nichols.
Shiva Zuba, Anthony Gill, Evan Kennedy, Hannah Chilberti, Eric Corey, Kaylee Fool, Ethan Salem, Patrick Weir.
Now reading for the Multidisciplinary Studies Program as part of the International Program for Educators, Interim Director Brandon Kawa.
Sama Abdel Wahab, Mohammed Abdi, Allah Abdul Azim, Yasmin Abu Nasra, Banan Aish, Amani Al-Jundi, May Alandari, Nada Al-Bordini, Latifa Al-Dusari, Sarah Alessa, Camilo Almeida, Lilia Al-Sarabi, Mohammed Al-Shamari, Hanan Al-Shawa, Claudia Alvarez Aguilar, Iman Amar, Yanka Anamela, Chris Augustine, Sarah Babani, Melis Banda, Amel Bashir, Lamia Berjawi, Diego Cabrera, Manuela Camara, Alejandra Cantu, Tatiani Carvalho, Asdrubal Casanova Carujal, Mary Casillas, Rocco Sisi, Monique Chapman, Johannes Kotzi, Diego Considera, Sarah Crowley, Priscilla Da Silva, Caroline de Acevedo Roca, Emmy DeLilla, Blenda de Oliveira, Tyler Draper, Melissa Duke, Amanda Edenfield, Shonda Edwards, Salwa El Herbawi, Shadi El Badawi, Fatima El Hassan, Luciana Fernandez, Daniela Felice, Fabiola Freitas, Catherine Gabriel, Paula Garcia Delgado, Monica Garcia Garza, Giowan Gong, Shanna Griffiths, Rosanna Genka, Patricia Gamaris, Danya Hamandi, Chainatsu Hirayama, Allison Hughes, Hasti Koshnamamesh. Trevor Cruz. Chantel Kulhoff. Lindsay Kundal. Hannah Lautner. Anna Lemon. Jessica Lindquist. Aileen Lira. Solan Magalhis. Joseph Mancuso. Anna Matamala. Stephen McCurdy. Diana Medina. Raquel Melito. Tommy Meyer Jr. Angie Mayano. Amani Mode Hassan. Jason Montgomery. Salma Motala. Sanam Naji. Yasmin Niem. Brendan Newman. Hikabasa Nicola. James Narenda. Deborah Oliveira. Vivian Oliveira. Laurel Parr. Mackenzie Peters. Audra Phelps. Juan Prano. Madeline Rauflib. Fabiana Ravignani. Elizabeth Ray. Keith Ray. Nayara Rodriguez. Brenda Rodriguez. Maria Rodriguez. Yulia Rosales. Paula Ruiz. Cloud Sabra. Lauren Santiago. Kenna Schatt. Anna Paula Cerejo. Paulo Silva. Risleen Silva. Mayuri Singh. Lunyuni Sinyenga. Rania Saran. Denise Skyers. Bianca Stoffels. Francisco Suarez. Maria Suros. Maimuna Tahir. Mohammed Tolba. Heather Townsend. Jenny Vandervin. Rebecca Varela. Edlin Venkataya. Misa Vieira. Carolina Vilvala. Cheryl Vogler. Nell Weber. Jeremy Wilson. Christina Wolf. Michael Wood. Marie Karen Yong Rojo. Sahar Youssef.
Now reading for the Multidisciplinary Studies program, Chair and Associate Professor of Mathematics, Dr. Jane Cushman.
Tessa Adamek. Michaela Wotazniak York. Abdullah Eden. Janelle Franasiak. Hongmei Wang Lin.
Now reading for the program of Multidisciplinary Studies, Assistant Dean and Program Coordinator, Dr. Kimberly Jackson.
Serafina Breslowski. Olivia Campbell. Shannon Casterline. Shadiqua Code. Jody Dreff. Ejaz Eberhardt. Philip Ferris. Elizabeth Graziano. Stephanie Cronides. Michelle Mayo. Vanessa Miller. Tahara Ajamu. Alyssa Pantano. Nadia Purdue. Courtney Riemann. Courtney Rivera. Stephanie Ross. Kyle Ciszewski. Franketta Willoughby.
Now reading for the program of Multidisciplinary Studies, Associate Professor Dr. Susan Keller Mathers.
Alfred Dan Hammonds.
Now reading for the program of Multidisciplinary Studies, Associate Professor Dr. Joseph Zawicki.
Margaret Harold Roush.
Now reading for the Multidisciplinary Studies program, Assistant Professor of Exceptional Education, Dr. Glisette Colon.
Shareli Rosario Rondon.
Now reading for the Multidisciplinary Studies program, Chair and Associate Professor of Mathematics, Dr. Jane Cushman.
Corey Zaxt.
Now reading for the Multidisciplinary Studies program, Chair and Associate Professor of Business, Dr. Michael Littman.
Uyi Omogun.
Now reading for the Multidisciplinary Studies program, Assistant Professor of Criminal Justice, Dr. Clarice Breen.
Victor Baird.
Now reading for the program of Museum Studies, Chair and Professor of History and Social Studies Education, Dr. Andrew Nichols.
Ashton Ashbrook. Isabel Bateson Brown. Xenia Doolin. Sarah Drozda. Carla Feller. Madeline Friedler. Cohen Salzbach. Alexa Templeton. Olivia Wexelman. Anwia Yukana.
Now reading for the Department of Music, Chair and Associate Professor Dr. Vicky Furby.
Ellen Arun. Angela Carriero. Rose Couchon. Marissa DeVoe. Ruth Gifford. Monica Huntz. Brianna Jenkins. Austin Matson. Christine Murniaks. Danielle Murray. Mitchell Tellerday. Stacy Yezo. Elizabeth Zare.
Now reading for the Department of Physics, Associate Professor and Director of the Master Teacher Program, Dr. David Henry.
Christine Colson. Brandon DeFilippis.
Now reading for the Department of Political Science and Public Administration, Chair and Associate Professor, Dr. Atta Sise.
Jamila Ball. Joshua Corey Bascom. Kaylee Donaldson. Cheyenne Eve. Nicole Golias. Laura Hoyne. Taylor Johnson. Caitlin Kane. Ginger Lillis. Abdullahi Mohammed. Patricia Payton. Stephanie Perez. Elda Pichardo. Jessica Treno. Gerard Volker. Thomas Bax. Jacob Cavanaugh. Joy Patterson.
Amaya King.
Now reading for the Science Education Program, Associate Professor and Program Coordinator, Dr. Joseph Zawicki.
Kaylee DeFranks. Matthew Glossick. Gabriella Green. Anna Hardinger. Elizabeth Hashem.
Now reading for the Science Education Program, Lecturer Lisa Brosnick.
Kimberly Kruder. Amanda Murtowski. Michael O'Connor. Peter Shaber. Keith Storr.
Now reading for the Department of Speech Language Pathology, Associate Professor, Dr. Milo Maldonado.
Sartu Abdukadir. Sherry Lynn Bauer. Lauren Begin. Kristen Cabana. Lucas Cole. Jennifer Cooperdock. Heidi Cowan. Alexia Crutchfield. Marcelina DeCarolis. Anna DeMartin. Jordan Eisel. Sarah Franzak. Rebecca Haber. Katie Hale. Yusuf Hassan. Sarah King. Megan Kramer. Mary Landel. Carly Leggett. Morgan Mann. Brittany McCardle. Sarah McLean. Emily Nelson. Bethany Nemmer. Andrea Nicosia. Clarissa Ott. Megan Pilkington. Courtney Provost. Brooke Rackley. Julia Santangelo. Kendall Skuse. Victoria Sokolowski. Melissa Wing.
Now reading for the Department of Social and Psychological Foundations for the Urban Education Program, Woodsbeel Endowed Chair, Dr. Javon Hunter.
Munirah Ali. Tyler
Alamonte, Emily Callaghan, Rachel Ciszewski, Liam Doherty, Jeffrey Dugan, Melissa Eloff, Gregory Garrett Jr, Corey Gasparini, Tracy Groves, Matthew Jerembeck, William Langer, Jessica Martin, Lauren Maynard, Lori McGuire, Margaret Mitchell, Rebecca Moshier, Donna Nowak, Kimberly Stahl, Stephanie Stoll, Cynthia Travers, Anna Campbell, Danielle Gates, Corinna Lorera Barcinas.
We would now like to observe a moment of silence for Sanaya Dennis, a valued and beloved member of the Buffalo State community. Thank you.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the State University of New York, and subject to the completion of the requirements set by the faculty, I hereby confer upon you the graduate degree or certificate of advanced study for which you have been recommended. We are pleased to present a diploma to you and all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining hereunto. Graduates, never forget how proud you've made us all today. And now, families, friends, and distinguished guests, it is my final duty and my extremely great pleasure to present to you the Buffalo State graduating class of 2021.